So hi, my name's Laura, and my part in my role within Me Again is the yoga teacher, and I also practice Reiki, so some of you would have had Reiki sessions with myself. I've known Deb, who runs Me Again, for many years. We've been really good friends, and it's been quite crazy because when her idea for Me Again was birthed, you could say, it was in the talking stages, and to see where it's come now, I never thought all those years ago that I'd actually be sitting here with a cancer diagnosis myself. You just, like so many people, you think it's not going to happen to you, and when you do get that news, it's a bit of a shock. Especially you're eating well, you're exercising well, and it's quite, I hear it from many people that come through the doors through Me Again. I hear through many people who are starting their cancer journey, or even they've completed their cancer journey, and it's the same thing. You don't think it will happen to you, and it's all different walks of life. I know the number one question that I did ask myself was, what have I done, and what can I do? So it was a strange one when you're railroaded through from diagnosis to then treatment. I took a non-conventional route. I went to what I already knew, with the likes of my Reiki, with my yoga, doing all the things that I knew would support my healing, because it's a strange one with cancer. You're being healed and being cured are two completely different things, and I felt that I had a lot of healing to do. I wasn't aware before my diagnosis that stress has a major part in your health. I thought, like, as we do, women, we're in jobs, we're running a household, and you just seem to take on more and more, and we're quite resilient to the point where sometimes we don't know how to say stop. We don't know how to not do all the things and the demands that are thrown at us. We just keep going and keep going until something breaks down, whether that's our body or mental health. So for me, my diagnosis gave me a chance to reset, look at my life, remove the things that really were stressing me out. Job-wise, I was going through a massive transition, moving house, getting rid of a lot of old energy. A 8-year relationship had just ended. It was really hard time for me, and emotionally, I wasn't really coping, but didn't realise that I wasn't coping, because again, the world's moving so quick. Parenthood, my son at the time was 15, I was a single mum, and there was just a lot of things that I had to juggle. And what I'm noticing as well is, when I'm hearing other people's stories, is when you get a diagnosis, it's not just that you have to deal with. There's normally a catalogue of other things that are happening, and it can really bring you down to your knees. It did for me. It was almost like, all because I'd had a diagnosis didn't mean that life gave me a break, because it didn't. And I'm seeing that there's a lot of people that are undergoing difficulties financially, they're undergoing difficulties within the workplace, and you can kind of see where those breakdowns come on every level. So I kind of dug deep into my toolbox. I was broken. Cancer brought me to my knees, and looking back, it's not something that I would ever choose, but looking back, it kind of gave me a chance to step off that merry-go-round that you kind of can't get off, that you've been thrown on and you didn't quite choose that ride, but you were stuck on it. So it has given me an opportunity to step off and really put myself first, because that's something that I wasn't doing, and I didn't know how to put myself first. I'd always put other people first, so it almost gave me just permission to actually say, no, enough's enough in certain areas, and to really honour myself, to really dig deep. I'd been practising, so I thought, self-love for so many years, being in the field of personal development, but I actually hadn't until my diagnosis. I didn't really know what true self-love was. And I think that comes down to self-worth, self-confidence, and putting you first, not in a selfish way, in a way where you truly, truly matter to yourself. And it got to the point where I thought, I've got a 15-year-old son, who's going to be there for him? I can get quite emotional now thinking about it, and I know so many other people are there, but you do really feel, although you've got a strong, and I had a really strong support network, although you've got, some people have a strong support network, you still feel so on your own. The way I try to describe it to people was, it was almost like you're in a room and there's a glass window and you've been put into that other room with a glass window so you can see everyone and see your life going on around you, but you know you're never ever going to enter that room again, ever. Once you have that diagnosis, it catapults you somewhere so you can see the world still going on around you, you can see your day-to-day life staying the same, but everything's changed and you're from a different perspective. The number one thing I had to do as well was be at peace with my outcome, really find peace within myself, really listen to myself. I disowned myself on so many levels throughout the years, always providing for other people, doing things for other people, that I disowned myself without realising it. And I think that pain throughout the years definitely caused me to know, the only way I can describe it is you kind of lose yourself, or sometimes you don't even know who you are, you haven't even found yourself to lose yourself. So I feel now this has been a massive journey of finding myself. I'm so at peace with who I am now. I'm so at peace with the outcome of where my health is heading. So throughout the months, and it was 2018, I got my diagnosis. Again, when everything just seemed to go into chaos, it was one thing after another. And I kind of see it as a train. If you're going at full speed and you're in a train, say you're a train, you're going at full speed and you've got carriages behind you, if you put on the brakes, the moment you put on the brakes, yeah, you might stop, but then you're going to have a crash of the other carriages are going to slow down and crash. And it was almost like that, a catalogue of things just until finally things have just stopped, they settled, and now I feel I'm so much more, I wouldn't say in control of my life, I feel my life's more controlled, but I don't try and control it. I feel like things flow better because I've got into a place of having a relationship with myself and with my body, listening to my body. I use Kundalini yoga techniques, physical techniques. I use meditation techniques, a lot of immune boosting foods. And for me, that's important because it keeps me in line mentally. I know that I can stay on track. I know that I'm doing everything for my health, and it's coming from not a place of fear. I think I've eliminated a lot of fear because, again, the one thing that I discovered with the diagnosis, this fear that comes with it is just horrific. It's a fear that I've never felt before. And every day, the practices that I put in place are to eliminate that fear and just bring me back to myself, to my loving self, where, you know, we get perspective every single day. There's people who sent me messages, beautiful messages of support when I was going through treatment, and then a year down the line, they suddenly passed away through illness or sudden death, and where it makes me realise that, yeah, I was dealt a really crap card like so many other people, but I'm also so lucky. We're not guaranteed anything in life. We're not guaranteed. It doesn't matter whether you've had a diagnosis or there's another illness. Things change so quickly. And I think it is about embracing. It does something to you once you've had your diagnosis. It catapults you into a place where you haven't got time to mess about. You haven't got time to worry about the things that are insignificant, and the things that were I wasted so much time before my diagnosis worrying about things, and they were really, really important to me. So I thought, until your perspective changes one day and you do anything to have them worries again, and them be your only worries and not your survival and not your life. Yeah, so it's crazy to sit here now being part of me again on the other side of a diagnosis. My aim now is just to share what I've practiced, the things that help me to heal, and to share them with you guys in the most amazing, supportive environment. It's got to be a magical journey. It can be a magical journey, it can be a fearful one, but it's how we all pull together the support network that you have throughout a diagnosis. Yet you can feel on your own, but you do move through it. You do move through it quite quick, and you look back all of a sudden when you feel that, you know, there's times you think, I'm not going to get through this. And the fear can consume you. You hide things from other people as well. That's another thing. It's lovely to have an environment where you don't need to hide them fears, you don't need to hide them struggles, you don't need to hide them worries. And it just does feel better knowing that there's someone else that's going through it, that it's not just you, or someone else that has been there, or you can be there for someone who you recognise the path that they're on, you recognise the things that they're going through, and you just know how to help with just a little hand, just supportive hand, helping them to get where they need to go.